Shalom, everybody. Welcome back to Each One Reach One. As usual, I definitely appreciate y'all time. You know what I mean? You could be doing anything else, but you're here with me. All right. So I pray that you guys are all edified by this lesson that we're going to get into today, this study. I should say, I don't really like to use the term lesson because I don't want to, I don't really consider myself to be any higher than anybody else that I need to be teaching you anything, but I'm bringing things to your attention. I'm bringing things for your consideration. I'm bringing things for you to, for study. That's what I like to use. Study. This is study. All right. I don't profess to know everything. I don't profess to have the 100% truth. Nobody has the 100% truth or the 100% understanding. And if you know our Father, you understand that he didn't give anybody. He doesn't give anybody the 100% of anything because otherwise men would boast of themselves. He doesn't want anybody to boast of themselves. So you know what the Most High does? He makes you wrong about some stuff and he makes you right about some stuff. That's the way he does. So anybody saying that they're not wrong about anything, they have a lying demon on them. All right. Careful with anybody saying that everything that they say is 100% truth. Take what they say, and if you question what they say, then you're going off. Right? That's a demon. Okay. They are a liar. Anybody that tells you that, they are a liar. We're all wrong about stuff. None of us are right about everything. None of us, not a single man on this planet is right about everything. Not a single person from any camp, any YouTube channel is right about everything. And if you watch them, then you see everybody, every group, every YouTube channel, every Hebrew Israelite that's out here teaching or doing lessons or studies, they're all right about some stuff and they're all wrong about some stuff. So we got to get out of this whole, well, you don't believe what I believe and you was wrong about this one thing, so I'm gonna throw everything else that you said away. That's not how you're supposed to, get down. You're supposed to understand how to, eat the meat, spit out the bones, how to have a discerning spirit, pray for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and let the Most High teach you how to rightly divide the word, rightly divide what you heard. You get what I'm saying? And to have the spirit of understanding and give our brothers and sisters grace, because we're waking up in this truth, and we know in part and we prophesy in part. We don't know everything. All right, we're supposed to operate as a body. He sprinkles the gift around. He gives a little here, little there, little here, little there. He spreads the gift around so that we conduct ourselves like a body. Right? If anybody had all of the information, they wouldn't operate as a body. They would operate as the head. Right? Because the head is all knowing. The head is able to give all instruction and be the only one that don't need instruction, right? Your feet don't need to give instructions to your brain. Your arms don't need to give instructions to your brain. Your brain gives out the instructions to the rest of your body, right? The only one that has all the truth and understanding and the wisdom is our head. Hamashiach, YAHAWASHI. All the rest of us, we only know in part. We know just enough to do the job that he wants us to do. And he's not going to allow us to have all of the truth or all of the understanding, not any one man, because then we don't operate as a body. We're supposed to share our gifts, share our understanding with everybody, and the spirit of wisdom will lead each person to the information the Most High wants that person to hear. The Most High wants certain people to be in the dark about certain things. So he'll lead those people to certain people who will teach them that correct thing that he wants them to understand, or that incorrect thing that he wants them to understand, or a combination of both, so that you keep your studies going, so that you continue to move around the community, not think that you can get everything from one place. It's not a such thing as a one-stop shop in Israel. You just can't go and get all your understanding from one group, from one person. It doesn't work like that. You're going to be missing certain things. You're going to have an insufficient, incorrect understanding about certain things if you try to get it all from one place, because no one place has all the correct information. With that said, rambling over now, that wasn't really a ramble. That was a necessary disclaimer. Let us begin by giving all praise, honor, and glory to our Heavenly Father, the Most High YAHAWAH, who comes in the name of his beloved Son, our Master, Hamashiach YAHAWASHI, Wahara Kakadash. You see the title, you know why we're here. We're discussing the Gog and Magog event, also known as the Day of the Lord. Not the day of the Lord's vengeance, not the day of the Lord's wrath, but the day of the Lord. All right? We need to dig into this. There's certain people have a misunderstanding about this. You know, I was one of them. Once upon a time, I had the wrong understanding about when it took place, you know, what it was about. And I've seen it with you know, inside the community. I've seen some brothers who, you know, I respect their intellect and I respect their study habits. I respect the level of oil in their cup. And even them, they've been wrong about this. Why? Because none of us are right about everything. All right. So each one, reach one, teach one. That's the mission. All right. So just to get it clear, the Gog and Magog event, the day of the Lord, this event occurs after YAHAWASHI's 1,000-year reign, not before. This doesn't take place before he arrives. And it doesn't take place as soon as he arrives either. This event occurs after YAHAWASHI's 1,000-year reign, which is also after Satan's release from being chained up for 1,000 years. Satan being chained up for 1,000 years and YAHAWASHI's 1,000-year reign, they go hand in hand. When YAHAWASHI comes to reign, Satan, he loses his reign. He has to go and be chained up. He can't be here running loose and doing this thing at the same time when YAHAWASHI is here upon his throne, ruling. Okay? So, with that said, let's get to some scripture. We're going to Ezekiel. Let's get Ezekiel chapter 38. All right, Ezekiel chapter 38. Prophecy about Gog and future invasion of Israel. Okay. Ezekiel 38, beginning at verse 1. Let's go. And the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. So remember that Satan will be released at the end of 1,000 years. At that time, he will influence Gog and Magog, as well as the other nations with them, to come against Israel one last time. They're all going to see Israel living great. All these nations will have been tributaries to Israel, and they will have taken part in the building of our kingdom for 1,000 years. They're going to see us living well with their help, eating and drinking abundantly, aplenty. They're going to see us being merry. They're going to see us comfy, living with no worries. And this is going to piss them off, right? They're going to piss them off. They're going to get tired of this after a while. Then Satan is going to come and gas them up one last time for one last ass kicking. Okay? Ezekiel 38, verse 7. Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. After many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword. In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always laid waste, which have always been waste. But it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. So the latter years is referring to after the 1,000 years of YAHAWASHI's rule and Satan's captivity. This is Gog and this merry band of idiots. All right. Verse 9. Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. See, this is Satan's final enchantment, his last act before his services are terminated. Because once we go into the kingdom and we're all made righteous, Satan's job is going to be done. He was created for a purpose, him and his angels. They all had a purpose, but their purpose will have been fulfilled, right, before we go into the kingdom. And once we enter into the kingdom, there will no longer be any use for him. And once the Most High is done using him as a tool, he's going to discard of that tool. Okay, so this is his final act before his services are terminated. Verse 10. Thus saith the Lord Yahawah, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought, as we just stated, right? It shall also come to pass that at that time shall things come into thy mind. At what time? The day of the Lord. This is going to be after the 1,000 years. And all of a sudden, Gog and Magog have things come into their mind, and all their band, things are going to come into their minds. And they shall think an evil thought, right? Where do you think God will get this evil thought? Where's it going to come from? Satan. It's going to come from Satan after his release, right? Verse 11. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, and having neither bars nor gates. See, there will be unwalled villages, no bars or gates, because this is the time of YAHAWASHI dwelling with his people. And it's the time of spiritual power among Israel, right? Verse 12. To take a spoil and to take a prey, to turn thine hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which have gotten cattle and goods that dwell in the midst of the land, right? So they're going to come to take a spoil and to prey, to turn their hands upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, because the places that are desolate now, they will be inhabited at that time. They will have been built up by all the nations that serve Israel, right? That are tributaries unto Israel, right? Upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, that will be the elect of Israel who are back in the earth after their redemption, and it will be the remnant of Israel that are saved out of the great tribulation, and it will be the Gentiles that are clinging to Israel, okay, which have gotten cattle and goods. Because remember, as he said, the forces of the Gentiles will be converted unto thee. The abundance of the sea shall be converted unto thee. We're going to get all of their stuff. Remember, they're going to come bringing all of their stuff unto Israel, right? Okay, so they're going to want to take everything from us that we have after 1,000 years of building and prospering with the help of the labor and tribute of all the other nations, right? Verse 13, Sheba and Dedan and the merchants of Tarshish with all the young lions thereof shall say unto thee, art thou come to take a spoil? Hast thou gathered thy company to take a prey, to carry away silver and gold, to take away cattle and goods, to take a great spoil? Why is Sheba and Dedan going to say this? And the merchants of Tarshish, because they're going to be with Israel. They're going to be among that number, right? They're going to be clinging. And so these people are going to be standing in the way, and they're going to be like, hey, what are you doing? You come to rob and plunder? You come to kill and take people captives again? You here to do your same old thing? Are you here to take away silver and gold, cattle and goods, to take a great spoil? Is that what you come here for? Therefore, son of man, prophesy and say unto Gog, thus saith the Lord Yahawah, in that day, when my people of Israel dwelleth safely, shalt thou not know it? Shalt thou not know when my people of Israel dwell safely? And see, this is something that many Christians have to take notice of, because many Christians believe that those other people living in that land right now, calling themselves us, but are not in due lie, but are the synagogue of Satan, they believe that they are the people and that they fulfilled prophecy in 1948. That's what they believe. But the Most High says, in that day when my people of Israel dwelleth safely, shalt thou not know it? Are they dwelling in safety? Have they been dwelling in safety since 1948? No, they have not. They've been having wars. They've been having wars. They need nukes. But the Most High said he would dwell with his people in that day. They wouldn't need nukes. Why don't they have spiritual power? Why do they need nuclear weapons? Why aren't they dwelling in safety? Gog and Magog have not come against them. They're supposed to be, living in a state of joy right now. If they had already fulfilled prophecy, they should have these people of all these other nations being tributaries unto them, right? Clinging unto them. That's not what's happening. Now, they do have many people being tributaries unto them. As many nations, many people are, sending money over there to them because they falsely believe that they are the people. So they think that, they're going by, I will bless those who are a blessing unto you. So they think those are the people. So they're trying to be a blessing unto those people in order to be in the favor of the Most High, right? But let's continue on. And thou shalt come from thy place out of the north parts, thou and many people with thee, all of them riding upon horses, a great company and a mighty army. And thou shalt come up against my people of Israel as a cloud to cover the land. It shall be in the latter days, and I will bring thee against my land, that the heathen may know me, when I shall be sanctified in thee, O Gog, before their eyes. Because the Most High is going to make a statement at this time, right? The Most High is going to make his might and his power known, and he's going to get himself his rightful glory, praise, and honor. One more time in the eyes of all the nations, right? People have short memories, as we know. We forget very easily. But remember, this is going to be after 1,000 years. So after 1,000 years, it's going to be people living at that time who will have forgotten all about what happened in the day of the Lord's vengeance, the day of the Lord's wrath, when the great tribulation happens, right? And they're going to need a reminder, right? So after the 1,000 years, the people who are alive at that time and have forgotten all about the day of the Lord's wrath will get their reminder. He's going to make one final statement to the people, to the enemies of Israel, and to Israel themselves, as well as those that are clinging unto Israel, that I am your power and none else. I got you. I got you. Right? And to make a statement that I love my people Israel. I am their power and none else. Right? Verse 17. Thus saith the Lord Yahawah, art thou he of whom I have spoken in old time by my servants, the prophets of Israel, which prophesied in those days many years that I would bring thee against them? Right? See, this is the Most High reminding God that he was warned long ago. Ezekiel warned them. Other prophets warned them. And then this time, his prophets living right now are again warning them. Right? So he's reminding God that hey, you were warned a long time ago by my prophets that this day would come. Right? I gave you a warning. Now get ready, because it's here. It's that time. Time to pay that bill. All right. Verse 18. And it shall come to pass at that same time, when Gog shall come against the land of Israel, saith the Lord Yahweh, that my fury shall come up in my face. What does he mean when he says, my fury shall come up in my face? Well, this means that he's going to recall, he's going to remember the day of his wrath. He's going to recall everything that he did before the coming of his son. Right? All right. So verse 19. See, now he's about to remind them. He's about to remind them now. Okay. So Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 19. For in my jealousy and in the fire of my wrath, in the day of his wrath, I have spoken. Surely in that day there shall be a great shaking in the land of Israel, so that the fishes of the sea and the fowls of heaven and the beasts of the field and all creeping things that creep upon the earth and all the men that are upon the face of the earth shall shake at my presence, and the mountains shall be thrown down, and the steep places shall fall, and every wall shall fall to the ground. And I will call for a sword against him throughout all my mountains, saith the Lord Yahweh. Every man's sword shall be against his brother. Right? This is the time that we're about to walk into now. This is not talking about the Gog and Magog event. This is talking about the Great Tribulation. This is talking about the day of the Lord's wrath, the day of his vengeance, right? So this is what he's explaining. He's recapping, right? So we've gone back to that time, right? So let's continue. Chapter 22, verse 22, pardon me. And I will plead against him with pestilence. Now he's not going to beg him. He's not going to beg him. He's going to reckon with them. He's going to deal with them. And I will plead against him with pestilence and with blood. And I will rain upon him and upon his bands and upon the many people that are with him, and overflowing rain and great hailstones, fire and brimstone. Thus will I magnify myself and sanctify myself, and I will be known in the eyes of many nations. That's what he wants. He wants all the nations to know of him. And they shall know that I am the Lord Yahweh. See, his men, we already know of him. There's many people in the world right now who don't believe him. They believe in science. There are a lot of them are atheists. A lot of them, believe in this and that and this and that and the other. But he's going to bring the day, the time upon the earth when he's going to show everybody. He's going to magnify himself. He's going to sanctify himself. And he will make himself known in the eyes of many nations, so that they know that he is Yahweh. All right. So again, this is concerning his day of wrath and vengeance before YAHAWASHI's return. Right. Because as he told his son, sit thou at my right hand until I made thy enemies thy footstool. Right. So Ezekiel chapter 39, verse 1. Well, let's get the subject. Prophecy against Gog, invaders destroyed. Therefore, thou son of man, prophesy against Gog, and say, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. Right? Again, this is concerning his day of wrath. Right? Well, he's about to tell the current people of Gog and Magog living in the time at the end of the 1,000 years of YAHAWASHI's reign, what he's about to do to them. All right, that's what's going on here. All right, he's letting the people know at that time. See, this is not right now. This is at the end of the 1,000 years. He's talking to those people at that time. So this is a flash forward. This is future tense, right? Way at the end, in the latter years. This is what's going to happen, right? Okay, so they're about to get that heads up on what's about to go down. All right, so Ezekiel 39, verse 2. And I will turn thee back and leave but the sixth part of thee, and will cause thee to come up from the north parts, and will bring thee upon the mountains of Israel. And I will smite thy bow out of thy left hand, and will cause thine arrows to fall out of thy right hand. See, this is not figurative language, right? He's talking about actual bows and arrows, right? He's not using similitudes, no figurative, no figures of speech, no figurative language, because he will have destroyed their weapons by this time. We will have destroyed their weapons by this time, and we will not have allowed them to build up weapons facilities and so forth, so they can, build the kind of weaponry they have today, or anything close to it that can make them any kind of serious threat, right? Verse 4. Thou shalt fall upon the mountains of Israel, thou and all thy bands, and the people that is with thee. I will give thee unto the ravenous birds of every sort, and to the beasts of the field to be devoured. Thou shalt fall upon the open field, for I have spoken it, saith the Lord Yahawah. And I will send a fire on Magog, and among them that dwell carelessly in the isles, and they shall know that I am Yahawah. See, he isn't going to have his people, he ain't going to have us move a single pinky toe, because he intends to do this himself. He's going to make a point that he is with his people and is their defender, our defender, Israel. He's about to make a point, right? This isn't going to be the time when we're going to utilize the spiritual power in order to combat these forces. It's called the day of the Lord, because this is his fight. He's going to handle this himself, all right? Ezekiel chapter 39, verse 7. So will I make my holy name known in the midst of my people Israel. See, he's going to make his holy name known. He's going to leave no doubt for his people. He's going to make sure that he gets all the thanks, all the praise, honor, and glory that he deserves and that he desires from his people. And he's going to be known among all the other nations so that they can bend the knee, because his ultimate desire is for every head to bow, every knee to bend, every tongue to confess that he is and none other, right? He will make his holy name known in the midst of his people Israel. He will not let them pollute his holy name anymore. And the heathen shall know that I am Yahawah, the Holy One in Israel. The Holy One in Israel. Those are his people. We are his people, right? Verse 8, behold, it is come, and it is done, saith the Lord Yahawah. This is the day whereof I have spoken. And they that dwell in the cities of Israel shall go forth, and shall set on fire and burn the weapons, both the shields and the bucklers, the bows and the arrows, and the handstaves and the spears, and they shall burn them with fire 7 years. Right? So we're on cleanup duty. He's going to destroy them, and we're going to clean up the aftermath. Okay? So they will have so many wooden weapons that it will take 7 years to burn it all. Right? 7 years we shall be burning all of the weapons. Verse 10. So that they shall take no wood out of the field. This is us. There's going to be so much firewood, we're going to be taking any wood out of the field. Neither cut down any out of the forest. For they shall burn the weapons with fire, and they shall spoil those that spoiled them, and rob those that robbed them, saith the Lord Yahawah. We're going to be burning their weapons, once again, as firewood, and taking everything they possessed for our possession. Right? Let's go to Isaiah chapter 60. Let's get verse 17. For brass, I will bring gold, and for iron, I will bring silver, and for wood, brass, and for stones, iron. I will also make thy officers peace and thine exactors righteousness. Let's see, as you see. And for wood, brass. He's going to replace the wood in our kingdom with brass. We aren't going to need wood really for much of anything except firewood. That's why we shall be burning all that wood for firewood, right? We're not going to need it for building purposes, right? That's going to be out, right? We're about to get an upgrade, right? Our kingdom's going to be better than anything these people have ever had and ever seen, right? So, and that's our kingdom under YAHAWASHI, his 1,000-year reign, let alone the kingdom that is to come after the great white throne judgment. That's going to be so magnificent, nobody can even comprehend or imagine its magnificence accurately, right? But our 1,000-year reign under YAHAWASHI is going to be better than theirs as well. You better believe that. You better know it, right? Okay, so let's go back to Ezekiel chapter 39. And we shall pick up in verse 11. Ezekiel 39 and 11. And it shall come to pass in that day that I will give unto Gog a place there of graves in Israel, the valley of the passengers on the east of the sea. And it shall stop the noses of the passengers, and there shall they bury Gog and all his multitude, and they shall call it the valley of Hamongog. In 7 months shall the house of Israel be burying of them, that they may cleanse the land. Right? Yea, all the people of the land shall bury them, and it shall be to them a renown the day that I shall be glorified, saith the Lord Yahweh. And they shall sever out men of continual employment, passing through the land to bury with the passengers those that remain upon the face of the earth, to cleanse it. After the end of 7 months shall they search. And the passengers that pass through the land, when any seeth the man's bone, then shall he set up a sign by it, till the buriers have buried it in the valley of Hamongog. And also the name of the city shall be Hamanah. Thus shall they cleanse the land. And thou, son of man, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, speak unto every feathered fowl and to every beast of the field. Assemble yourselves and come. Gather yourselves on every side to my sacrifice that I do sacrifice for you, even a great sacrifice upon the mountains of Israel, that ye may eat flesh and drink blood. Ye shall eat the flesh of the mighty and drink the blood of the princes of the earth, of rams, of lambs, and of he-goat, and of goats, of bullocks, all of them fatlings of Bashan. And ye shall eat fat till you be full, and drink blood till you be drunken of my sacrifice, which I have sacrificed for you. Thus ye shall be filled at my table with horses and chariots, with mighty men, and with all men of war, saith the Lord Yahweh. Right? This is going to be their last great feast before the great white throne judgment, before he brings this current world to an end and his kingdom comes. Because when his kingdom comes, animals shall no longer eat other animals. They shall no longer taste of blood or eat meat. That's going to be out. So this is their final feast, that like the last meal of this type that they're ever going to have before he shuts it all down and brings about his kingdom. Right? Verse 21, and I will set my glory among the heathen, and all the heathen shall see my judgment that I have executed, and my hand that I have laid upon them. So the house of Israel shall know that I am Yahweh their power from that day and forward. And the heathen shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquity, because they trespassed against me. Therefore hid I my face from them, and gave them into the hand of their enemies. So fell they all by the sword. He's telling you why it happened. That I'm the reason why you were able to take my people captive. You were not able to take them captive because they were pushovers, because they were cowards. It's because I gave them into the hand of their enemies. That's why they fell by the sword. My people went into captivity for their iniquity against me, not because you were mightier than they. I gave you the power. I subdued their spirits and took away their power. I made it possible for all of this to happen to my people. It was their punishment because they trespassed against me. Therefore hid I my face from them, and I gave them into the hands of their enemies. He's making it a point to let them know you couldn't have done nothing against my people if it wasn't for me. He's cleaning up their misunderstanding about his people. See, because many in the world right now, many of our own nation, especially for our women, y'all conquered. Why should we listen to y'all? Y'all are conquered men. You see what I'm saying? This is what our women, the kind of shit our women say, because they don't understand that the Most High did this to us. They think these other people were just stronger than us and mightier than us, and we aren't anybody to respect or listen to because we're conquered and suppressed, and we're the bottom rung of all the men, and why should they listen to us? Why should I have respect for you? And you got conquered. You didn't save us, right? So he's having to let all the enemies of his men know, including our women, why we ended up in the position we were in. All right, tangent over, continuing with the lesson. According to their uncleanness and according to their transgressions have I done unto them, and hid my face from them. Verse 25, see the subject matter, Israel restored. All right, Christians, if you're paying attention and you're a Christian, watch this. Israel gets restored, not thrown away, and spiritual Israelites are adopted all of a sudden. No, Israel is restored, right? Ezekiel 39:25. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, now will I bring again the captivity of Jacob and have mercy upon the whole house of Israel, and will be jealousy for my holy name. You see that? I will bring again the captivity, meaning I'm going to bring them out of captivity, right? And have mercy upon the whole house of Israel, meaning all of them, and will be jealous for my holy name, not throw them away, not forsake them, and adopt the heathens and Gentiles and graft them in. No, that's not what he has prophesied. That's not what he said will be. That is not his promise. Okay, his promises are to his people. All right, and this passage is a reference to our current captivity. Okay, to our current captivity. He's telling them what's going to happen. He's going to bring this to an end, right? So, verse 26. After that, they have borne their shame and all their trespasses, whereby they have trespassed against me, when they dwell safely in their land, and none made them afraid. Right? See, he's telling you, we got to go through all of this. Everything that we had to go through, this is us bearing our shame. Right? And paying the uttermost farthing for all of our trespasses, whereby we have trespassed against him, our Father, when we dwell safely in our land, and none made us afraid. We have to pay for that. We have a release date. We have a day of redemption and salvation already appointed to us. And that's what we have to be patient for. We're working towards that right now. We are walking towards that time. How are you walking? right? Verse 27. Now I was going to start back from 26. After they have borne their shame and all their trespasses, whereby they have trespassed against me, when they dwelt safely in their land, and none made them afraid. When I have brought them again from the people and gathered them out of their enemies' land. See, because his people Israel should be scattered throughout all the lands of their captivities, throughout all the lands of their enemies, because his people were taken captive as slaves into all the nations of the earth, into all the four corners of the earth, and will still be in their enemies' lands when the great tribulation begins. So they're going to need to be gathered, as he says, when I have brought them again from the people. See, so his people shouldn't be in their own land right now. They should be scattered so that they are in need of being gathered out of their enemies' lands and am sanctified in them in the sight of many nations. Meaning he's going to work great wonders in us, for us, and through us in the sight of all the nations, so they know that we are his chosen people, that he is our power. He's going to make sure nobody has any more doubt about him, his existence, or who his people are. He's going to bring all of those questions to an end. Verse 28. Then shall they know that I am Yahawah, their power. They're going to know. We're going to come into the time of knowing. We're going to exit the time of faith, and we're going to enter into the time of knowing, right? So then shall they know that I am Yahawah, their power, which caused them to be led into captivity among the heathen. But I have gathered them unto their own land, and have left none of them any more there. See, he's not going to leave his people scattered anymore. All of his people shall be gathered out of all the nations where we have been scattered to, and have left none of them anymore there. As again, it's how you know we're talking about right now. Right now. Neither will I hide my face any more from them, for I have poured out my spirit upon the house of Israel, saith the Lord Yahawah. Right? Okay, so again, verse 28, then they shall know that I am Yahawah, their power, which caused them to be led captivity among the heathen, but I have gathered them unto their own land, and have left none of them any more there. Isaiah 60, verse 3. Look at the subject matter, a glorified Zion. All right. Isaiah chapter 60, verse 3. And the Gentiles shall come to thy light, and kings to the brightness of thy rising. Lift up thine eyes round about and see. All they gathered themselves together. They come to thee. Thy sons shall come from far, and thy daughters shall be nursed at thy side. Then thou shalt see and flow together, and thine heart shall fear and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea shall be converted unto thee. The forces of the Gentiles shall come unto thee. Right? And this is the time after the Great Tribulation, when they're going to be bringing all of their stuff. They're going to be helping Israel. Everywhere they're scattered throughout the lands, they're going to be getting help of the other nations, the ones who desire to cling to us. They're going to be assisting with the gathering of Israel back to our place, to the wilderness, and then to our place, right? Verse 9. Surely the owl shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first, to bring thy sons from far, their silver and their gold with them, unto the name of the Lord Yahawah, thy power, and to the Holy One of Israel, because he hath glorified thee. And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee, For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have had mercy on thee. This is what's going to be happening during the 1,000-year reign of YAHAWASHI. The sons of strangers shall be building up our walls, and their king shall minister unto us, meaning they're going to serve us, right? Therefore thy gates shall be open continually. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. This is what's going to be taking place in the day of the Lord. The Gog and Magog event is the manifestation of verse 12. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Satan's going to get in their heads after the 1,000 years and make them come against us. They're going to decide, no, we don't want to serve them. We're tired of serving them. We don't want to be beneath them. And his promise is they shall utterly be wasted. They shall be utterly wasted. And that's what he's going to do. He's not playing. Dig me? The Most High is not playing around one bit. Not one bit. Not one bit, fam. He's serious. All right, so let's go. Let's get 2nd Ezra. 2nd Ezra, chapter 13, verse 12. Afterward saw I the same man come down from the mountain and call unto him another peaceable multitude. And there came much people unto him, whereof some were glad, some were sorry, and some of them were bound, and others some brought of them that were offered. Then was I sick through great fear and awake, and said, okay, well, I don't need to get the rest of that. I wanted these 2 verses here. But what we just finished reading in Isaiah is what's happening here in 2nd Ezra, chapter 13, verse 12 and 13. All right. So let's go back to Ezekiel chapter 39. And just again, let's get verse 29 again. Neither will I hide my face any more from them, meaning Israel, for I have poured out my spirit upon the house of Israel. See, he's going to pour out his spirit upon his people, right? He's going to give us spiritual gifts, spiritual powers. And the best gift he's going to give us is him, his presence. He's going to dwell with his people. And we shall be all righteous. We shall no more do wickedly. Right? Let's get Revelation chapter 20. Satan bound. Verse 1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. Right? So this is when Satan is bound for the 1,000-year rule of YAHAWASHI, before being released, prior to the day of the Lord. Okay, verse 3, and cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season, right? So that little season is the latter years. It's at the end of the 1,000 years, right? Which is after the 1,000-year reign of YAHAWASHI, right? So it's at the end of the 1,000 years, and the Gog and Magog situation until the end of the 7-year period that follows, right? So again, that little season is at the end of the 1,000 years, and from the Gog and Magog situation until the end of the 7-year period that follows, right? Verse 4, and I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of YAHAWASHI and for the word of the Most High, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither have received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Hamashiach 1,000 years. See, Satan gets bound, then Hamashiach reigns for 1,000 years, then Satan is loosed for a little season, right? That's the order. That's how it happens, right? Verse 5, but the rest of the dead live not again until the 1,000 years were finished. That's the 1,000 years of YAHAWASHI's reign, millennial reign, and during the time of Satan's millennial captivity. This is the first resurrection. Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. On such the second death hath no power, but they shall be priests of the Most High and of Hamashiach, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. So as you see, YAHAWASHI reigns for 1,000 years, and then Satan is freed and doomed, right? And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. See, this is the point now. This is the time of Gog and Magog. Happens after Satan is released out of prison for 1,000 years. Then he comes out and he goes out to deceive Gog and Magog and all of their bands, right? After YAHAWASHI's 1,000-year reign and after the 1,000-year captivity of Satan that takes place during YAHAWASHI's millennial rule. Verse 9, and they went up on the breadth of the earth and compassed the camp of the saints about in the beloved city. Again, the camp of the saints, because the saints are the Israelites. They're going to come against Israel, blood-born Israel, not the fictitious spiritual Israel, okay? And fire came down from the Most High out of heaven and devoured them, because this is not going to be a war of the people against those people. It's going to be YAHAWAH absolutely obliterating and wiping out these people. He's going to make them come against his people, and then he himself is going to defend them, defend us, Israel. He's going to do it. See, the beloved city, because at that time we will be his beloved people again. Our congregation, where we are, where we're dwelling, will be considered his beloved city. These people are going to surround us. They're going to come against us. And then fire shall come down from the Most High out of heaven and devour them. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire. See, the devil that deceived them, after the 1,000-year reign, and he gets loose and he tricks Gog and Magog, puffs them up to come against us. And then Gog and Magog and their bands get destroyed. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone. Now the Most High has no more use for Satan. Right? Where the beast and the false prophet are. They see the beast and the false prophet, they're already there. And shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. All of these things happen at the end of the 1,000 years, and not upon YAHAWASHI's return, not before YAHAWASHI's return with the elect and those that were faithful unto death just before the white throne judgment. See, this is the order of things. This is when this takes place. All right. This doesn't happen as soon as we go into the wilderness, or as soon as, YAHAWASHI returns with the elect and those that were, dead in Hamashiach. That's not when it happens. Okay. So, verse 11, judgment at the throne of the Most High. And I saw a great white throne and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and heaven fled away, and there was found no place for them. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before the Most High, and the books were opened. And another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books according to their works. Right? And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them. And they were judged, every man according to their works. According to their works, they were judged. Right? Like I said before, this is not the time of faith. The Most High will have demonstrated himself through the great tribulation, through the day of his wrath, and the day of the Lord. Both of those events will have given the people all that they needed to have seen for them to believe. So this is no longer the time of faith. It is the time of works, right? Because now everyone should now be a believer, right? Verse 14. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. See, so after this is the kingdom of the Most High. So we had the 1,000-year reign of YAHAWASHI. Then we had the Gog and Magog event, right? Then we had the great white throne judgment. Then after this is the kingdom of the Most High. And the second resurrection begins. Those not found in the book of life are exempt from the second resurrection. You don't want to be one of those people that are exempt from the second resurrection. If you're not part of the first resurrection, you don't want to be one of those exempt from the second resurrection. You dig what I'm saying? But that's the Gog and Magog event. That is the day of the Lord. That's all I have to say on the subject at the moment, fam. I pray that you guys were all edified by this study, right? So without any further dragging on of this, I kept you long enough. Thank you for your time. Let us give all praise, all honor, and all glory unto the Most High Yahawah, Bahashem Hamashiach Yahawashi, YAHAWAH Rakakadash. See you guys on the next one. Shalom.